Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here with my co-host today, Aaron. Go ahead and say hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, the topic of this video, the Chiefs. Are they back after a great win against the Las Vegas Raiders, coming back from 14-0 in the first half to win 31-17 after going on a 31-3 run, starting off in the second quarter. But, Aaron, is it safe to say the Chiefs are back after this offense performance put up by Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the unit? I mean, Mahomes came back almost throwing 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 27 for 34 passing. After a rough first quarter, really came back and handed it to the Raiders, like he's known to do throughout his career. But yeah, what was kind of your takeaway from this game? Obviously, a lot of the receivers were out as well. So, Chiefs really overcoming a lot of obstacles.
I tend to be a little more cautious on their back side of things. You know, I like to see a little more consistency, do this for a few more games in a row before I'm fully convinced that they're all the way back and I have nothing to worry about for their playoff run. But I definitely think it was a step in the right direction. Getting Rashee Rice a lot more targets, I like to see that. And Mahomes, you know, other than those first 2 drives, looked pretty good. And of course, the defense, you know, did its thing once again after those first 2 Las Vegas drives. So
Yeah.
I was happy with how they played for the most part.
Yeah. So I feel like the play that kind of stuck out to me as kind of like being the turning point, ironically for the Chiefs, it ended up being kind of a turning point in the Chiefs' favor, even though it was a positive play for the Raiders. That Josh Jacobs 63-yard, was it a 63-yard touchdown run? Yeah. That kind of like, I feel like snapped the Chiefs' offense out of it. You know, that was the first time where I feel like the Chiefs kind of felt like the defense wasn't going to win them the game. Now, sure, the defense ended up after that kind of shutting them down the rest of the way, only letting up 3 more points after that. But to be down 14-0 early to a supremely inferior team like the Raiders, I feel like the offense kind of looked at that and was like, okay, we kind of got to turn it on, or otherwise we might let this get out of hand. And that would not be good if we lost to the Raiders at this point in the season. Kind of trying to make a playoff push for that number 1 seed, obviously. Coming back and winning kind of kept them in stride with the rest of the conference. We'll talk about that in a different video. But obviously this ended up being kind of a more important game than maybe it looked like on paper. But yeah, what are kind of your opinion? What's kind of your opinion on that maybe being the play that snaps the Chiefs' offense out of it going ahead this season?
While we were watching the game, actually, my dad brought up the point that those first 2 drives by the Raiders, it felt like I don't necessarily wholeheartedly agree with this, but I can see where he was coming from, that the defense was playing like they knew that the offense had been playing and wasn't going to be the reason that they won the game, that they had to be the reason that they won the game. So they were pressing a little bit. Now, Granted, I think they just had a really well-scripted first 2 drives. Obviously,
Sure.
O'Connell played pretty well. He had some really good throws. But I think it's more of a testament to kind of Mahomes' attitude for some reason. He just plays better coming from behind. And it's annoying, but he seems to play better when they're down 10 or 14 points.
Yeah, that's true. That is also true. Mahomes loves to come back in games. Typically, he doesn't have to, in his career at least, come back against the Raiders. Typically, he puts it on them pretty early and kind of coasts the rest of the way through games. But one play I did want to point out, because it seems like we just love to pull one trick play out of our bag every single season against the Raiders, was that little like fake jet sweep. I guess you'd call
double reverse. It was like a fake,
a fake jet sweep, double reverse. What's it called when you hand it to the running back and he Flea Flicker. Flea Flicker.
Yeah.
It was like a fake end around jet sweep double reverse Flea Flicker thing, and ended up, of course, going to Travis Kelce in the end. Hello, Picasso. And yeah, well, like it just seems like Andy Reid loves to screw with the Las Vegas Raiders. Sorry, am I wrong?
No, I mean, I think the one thing that I really enjoy about Andy Reid, now granted, I do get annoyed with some of his bullshit trick plays, but he likes to have fun. He likes his players to have fun, and he incorporates them in these kind of fun plays. So I do like the fact that, he tends to throw them in every now and again, and
Yeah.
I would have liked to see that called, maybe on our half of the field where we've got a little more room, maybe a bit of a bigger play, but it worked out and we ended up scoring, so that's always a good thing.
Right. Excuse the cats behind me. Sorry, my fiance recently moved her cat in with mine, so it's been an adjustment. But
another thing to note.
Yep.
MVS, only one target.
Yeah. Do you think that was kind of a result of kind of Mahomes maybe not trusting him as much, or Andy Reid not trusting, or both? I guess.
I don't know, because he's always kind of been.
Yeah, he goes up and down in the receptions.
There one game, gone for the next 4, so I don't necessarily attribute that to being the only factor. I do think it could be partially a factor, but I also don't think Mahomes is the type of guy that, loses confidence in his teammates after one bad game or, multiple bad games.
Bad season.
Even though maybe he should sometimes. Watson also only had 1 catch, but he had, 3 targets.
Yeah, well, I mean, that 1 catch was a touchdown catch, so
yeah,
that's also something to be happy about. Another receiver you didn't mention, Rashee Rice, obviously having a great day. 8 receptions, 107 yards, 10 targets, 1 touchdown. It felt like that touchdown reception he had late in the game, at least to me, it kind of felt like maybe his breakout moment for the year. I think I mentioned this before the podcast. I expect him to be much more involved in the passing game going forward. I also think that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have kind of figured out that Rashee Rice is the best option we have outside of Travis Kelce right now. And so I think he's being more included as far as like Andy Reid drawing up plays. Andy Reid thinks about him more than maybe he did previously. Those routes that maybe he drew up for Kadarius Toney at the beginning of the season, he's now drawing, or Sky Moore, he's now drawing up for Rashee Rice. Yeah, I expect Rashee Rice to kind of, take a big step forward going ahead in the season, these last 6 games heading into the playoffs. What are kind of your thoughts on him going forward?
I think it's, partially a chemistry thing and kind of like you said, partially, realizing what he's got. He did, as seemingly all of our receivers have. He had some drops early on, so I think it took a little bit of time to build the trust in him. Granted, he did have another drop last week, or
Sure.
2, depending on your opinion of that first one on the little screen pass. But, yeah, I think it's great. I think he's definitely our best, most consistent receiver, and he's explosive and fun to watch after the catch in kind of a completely different way than Kadarius Toney is.
Yeah, no, he's more of a. I feel like Rashee's more of a straight line guy. Kadarius is a little bit more shifty. Can kind of make people miss in space. But Rashee Rice, if you can get him that ball on like a quick slant route or a drag route, and he can take it, turn upfield, he can get you a lot of yards in that after catch area, as he kind of proved in that last touchdown pass. So I expect big things out of him the rest of the season. I think he might flirt with 100 yards a few more times. Maybe even potentially get that 10 touchdown mark as a rookie, which would be really impressive. He's at 5 right now, 6 games left. He would have to get 5 more, obviously, to reach 10. But I think there's an outside chance he could definitely do that with him being more involved in the passing game, especially if people double Travis Kelce like they probably should and need to. So Other than that, Aaron, is there anything else you kind of feel like we need to touch on with this Chiefs team?
I mean, we got a decent test kind of coming up against the Packers, who
Hmm.
they might be finding their stride. They got
Yeah, they're heating up.
back-to-back wins against the Chargers and a big win against the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. So
Yeah, big
they're
win, big win.
they're trying to turn their season around and show some promise here in the second half of the season, going into the draft the next season,
Hmm.
and seeing what they've got with Jordan Love. So I think this will be a good test.
Yeah, the Packers obviously have been on a pretty big hot streak recently. Seem to be kind of finding their stride in the passing game with Jordan Love and Jaden Reed and Christian Watson seemingly coming back into the frame. Um, Obviously, losing Aaron Jones kind of hurts you, but they're seemingly figuring out a way to work around that right now. Jaden Reed getting a few carries out of the backfield. AJ Dillon starting to get it going a little bit, but it'll be a tough game for the Chiefs this weekend. You never know what you're going to get out of that Green Bay team. Obviously, I expect to win. I think we are the better team, and the better team should come out on top, but the Packers are a difficult team to beat, so we'll see how that goes, especially with them coming in on a hot streak. So that's all you got, though. I think that'll do it for us here at the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle. Here with my co-host today, Aaron. Go ahead and say bye, Aaron.
Iron.
All right, and my lovely cat friends behind me. But that'll do it. Deuces.